Hi everyone, Steve here with another mentalism review. I am at the college dorm part of IKEA where you can get $3,000 worth of furniture for your 376 square foot room. It's fantastic. Now, I'm here to give you a review of Peter Turner's monthly Masterclass series, volume 12. It's the 12th series in his monthly PDF. This one about propless mentalism, or anytime, anyplace mentalism. Quick disclaimer, it is not a start to finish book of strictly propless routines. There's a effect that involves a wine glass, 2 slips of paper, and a marker. That's a lot of props. But there are fully propless things throughout the book, and anytime, anyplace is probably the better distinction of the book. It definitely holds to that. Everything in there is something you could do at the spur of the moment. In fact, this is probably the book that I've rehearsed the most amount of stuff in the short amount of time that I've had it. I, for instance, did like 6 or 7 of these to a few friends yesterday, and yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of fun stuff in here. The book starts off with a name guess routine where you just write down a name, hand it to somebody. Again, you don't have to for this one use pen and paper, but within a few seconds, 2 lines of script maybe, you're able to guess the name that somebody's thinking of. The nice thing here is there's also an out, and the out is perhaps better than the routine. It's something that can work for more than just names, and it is lovely. It's wonderful. There's a lot of different ways. He talks about a lot of different ways to generate random names and be able to guess them throughout the book. And he also has a few rants in the beginning that have some of my favorite things are in the rants he does throughout this book. He talks about methods and plots and subtleties, and within the first few pages, he talks about a way to have somebody generate a playing card, which to guess, which makes it meaningful, dramatic, interesting, and it hurts me inside when I read him have such simple, easy, massively clever ideas that make things meaningful in mentalism. It hurts. I don't like it. I mean, I do like it because I'm going to go perform it, but I want to think of these things. So what are you going to do? Now, so yeah, there's that. He does it's the same kind of thing with the name guesses. He talks about makes it almost more interesting to come up with a random name than having somebody write one down and peek it. He talks about ways to make those interesting, to make all of these routines more important, more interesting for your audience, and more fooling, but making it easier work for you. It's a really good book. I probably will say that a few times throughout this review. Another thing, he has a tossed out deck variant that does not use a deck of cards. It is, again, anytime, anywhere. I do believe this one is fully propless, and it is probably the most solid out of the name guess routines that he presents. And it is wonderful. Again, with a little bit of work, you can switch it to things other than random names. And it's great. It's fantastic. There's a name and place routine. One person's thinking of a random name, another person's thinking of a random place. Amazing subtleties in this routine. That whole routine goes great with Second Coming from Fraser Parker. If you have that, this will give you some subtleties that'll make that book even better. There's he goes into another rant where where Peter actually talks about an entire routine that he did one night, and this is to exemplify the fact of when to use propless stuff and how to use it in conjunction with your propped routines, and how to make it more impressive to go with a prop, more impressive to go propless. It's really all down to how you frame these things, and he goes through an entire routine he did one night and shows you like start to finish how he incorporates the different ideas from the book. That to me was majorly helpful. There's a few contributions to this, as well as most of the other PDFs in this series. He has a contribution from Pablo Amira, where he contributes his RRV, I believe it's Real Remote Viewing, from his book Nada. This is a way to be able to get somebody, to be able to find out letters in a thought of word or name in a interesting routine. This is not something I've been able to work with yet. I think with the right spectator, you could get a very good routine, and there's some nice subtleties in here that I actually forgot when I read Nada. There's another routine, another contribution from Thaddius Barker, which is a pin reveal. It's nice. Within the first few sentences, he says it is not a pipe dream. I kind of think it is, not to be contradictory, but I do think that it is, in its current state, a bit more of a pipe dream. But if you add it in with a few other things you may already know, a few other routines that are on the market, it is a very nice backup for a pin reveal. If you have nothing, it is going to give you a better chance, but it could also have you fall on your face again and again and again and again and again, about 4 times. No big deal. But it is something with a bit of work that you could get good success from. There's a contribution from Fraser Parker called Color Seer, which is such a simple little routine, but it's something that it was one of my favorite things from it. It's so small, so simple, and it's something I do still need to work on, because he gives you an idea, but he doesn't, it's not a finished thought. It was something from one of his notebooks, I believe is what he writes, and it's something that I think could turn into something very cool, and it's a neat little piece in here. So again, ways to make your mentalism more meaningful, ways to make either your prop effects or your prop list seem more impressive with a little bit of scripting, a lot of ways to reveal information, names, words, locations, ways to have outs. If you've not seen Peter Turner's work since maybe when he first came out, this is going to be very different than what you might associate with Peter Turner. It's not that the material is different, it's still the same kind of material. It's just that it's not based so much in elaborate setups. Not that he does pre-show all the time, but there's no real pre-show in any of this. This is stuff you can do at any moment. It's very well thought out, very quick routines, but they can also be built up more. Very amazing little lines of script that makes this stuff all the more important. A lot of great material in this book. So it's not, these are great things. These are things you're definitely going to use. What else do we have? Oh, the best part of the whole thing, he goes through an entire Q&A act, line by line. There's some amazing subtleties, amazing process in the Q&A act. And it's also a Q&A act that could be done with, like he mentions, 4 to 10 people at a table. This could be a close-up Q&A act that you get into, and very impressive. And again, this is an impromptu Q&A act. It definitely has things that you can apply to a larger stage Q&A act very easily, but at the same time, it alone, I think, is worth $30. And I could say that about a couple of things in here. Each of the little ideas is worth at least 15 probably a piece. I mean, this is a really impressive book for such a small price. Now, pros and cons. Got my list over here. We'll start with the cons. Technically not propless, not a fully propless book. Anytime, Anywhere is closer to it. Beyond that, I just put as my other con. Pros, he goes into when to use this material, how to incorporate it into your normal sets, why you should use propless, because he doesn't think that a propless performance is the go-to, that this is the only thing to do. He doesn't believe in doing strictly propless. he doesn't perform strictly propless. I've seen him. He does a lot of other things than just propless mind reading, psychic, stealing thoughts kind of stuff. So that's it for me. Again, I don't think you can go wrong with any of these monthly releases. Find the ones that work for you. I do hear they're all going away soon now that the last one is written. So throw some money at Peter Turner and then just name a couple of random numbers from 1 to 13 and ask him to give you whatever he's willing to give you. And that's about it for me. Always, as always, feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel. This thing may eventually go hidden so it's not so public, and so I can get my YouTube channel back for performance videos. And leave a comment if you want clarification on anything. Feel free to go to facebook.com/SteveTheAmazing if you want to talk about anything in a bit more detail that's not privy to everyone. And that's it. Thank you again.